Thank you for joining us. Today's Facebook Live will discuss the changes to the public charge rule and how it affects us. Here we have Mario Godoy, one of our attorneys at the firm, and myself, I'm the client relationship manager, Noah Wagman. The first question I'd like to ask you, Mario, is we've been getting a lot of calls regarding this new public charge rule. Can you explain what a public charge is to our audience, please?
Absolutely, and that's a great question.
Mhm.
Under the immigration law, the U.S. has long contained what they call exclusion and removal provisions as far as the public charge rule is, and it's designed to basically limit the government from having to spend on folks that are coming in and living solely on public benefits. And so someone might be denied a green card, someone might be denied admission to the United States if an officer finds that it's likely at any time that this person would become a public charge.
Mhm.
And what that means in everyday terms is basically you're primarily dependent on public cash assistance for your income and your maintenance,
Okay.
or you're primarily dependent on institutionalized long-term care
Mhm.
at the government expense.
Okay.
And so that's been affecting basically admitted individuals. So even if you're a green card holder, this could become a subject to removal in the United States
Hmm.
based on this separate public charge ground. Although it's rarely applied, in this administration, that's something that I would sit down with an immigration attorney to speak about.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Can you explain the new charge? That would be really helpful, I think, to our audience.
Right. So basically, in September of last year, the Trump administration announced the upcoming publication of a proposed rule that, if implemented as written, would basically prevent immigrants from securing lawful permanent residence and remaining with their families in the United States. And I mean, it was simply because at any time in the past they received some type of basic health care, support, nutrition, assistance, or some other type of vital service.
Okay. So there's a lot that went into that in terms of determining, in terms of what you think would be the total effect of this proposed rule. How would you answer that question?
I would say that it's like far-reaching. I think that under the proposed rule, it raises an invisible wall, to massive new heights. Under this proposal, millions of current and aspiring immigrants would be prevented from pursuing their American dream.
Hmm.
And I think that the proposed rule is basically this administration's latest assault on immigrant families who are like an integral part of the fabric of American society. And, we know that they've been pivotal, to our nation's success.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is also affecting U.S. citizens as well.
Really? Huh.
Right. Yeah, if you could imagine, there are U.S. citizen children and adult spouses that need some type of public assistance or benefit that they're entitled to as United States citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been reading about news reports indicating that there are parents and there are spouses choosing to forego obtaining health benefits
Wow.
that they're otherwise entitled to.
Hmm.
And I think that as Americans, we should evaluate in looking at this rule that had our ancestors been held to the same standards that are articulated in this rule, far and wide, I think you wouldn't be in the United States today.
Wow. So with this whole rule, and how would this affect the processing time for the cases that are coming in? I think that's a question we definitely would have. So.
I'd say from an operational perspective, it's only going to increase the processing delays from USCIS. They've already reached crisis proportions in the last 2 years, and we've seen that time grow in every single case that we have here at the firm.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been able to see that also on a national level, that those times are increasing. And, that increase in time can prolong the separation of families. It could threaten the viability of businesses. It could, end up in someone losing their job. And it's going to add a massive administrative burden on USCIS that I think is only going to serve to make things worse.
Okay. So, what you're describing is this rule presently in effect, or is this something that will happen down the line?
So currently, as of today, it's in effect at the consulates and embassies. But so, if you're going to be traveling abroad to do your consular processing, speak to an attorney and see how this rule would affect you. And you got to talk to someone before you leave. Because even in preparation for today, I had to go and take a look at what has changed on that rule. right,
Okay.
and how they're applying it.
So, talking about how they're applying it, when the officers are seeing this, what are they considering?
Right. So the traditional public charge rule basically has immigration officials, considering, at a minimum, the person's age, their health, their family status, any assets, resources, financial status, education, skills,
Mhm.
and they would also consider someone having submitted an affidavit of support on Form I-864, and that's traditionally what they used to do.
Okay. So you're talking about what they used to do, what they're considering. What about the public benefits?
Not every public benefit should be included in the analysis. And the USCIS website has an excellent list of the public benefits that are considered and what is not considered.
Mhm.
But under the proposed rule, it intends to also impose, I believe, new penalties on families who have accepted forms of public assistance beyond the benefits of long-term institutionalization at the government's expense. They're considering future likelihood that someone would become a public charge. So not that they have been a public charge, just future likelihood that they would become one. So that's considering health, education, age, family status, assets, and skills within that realm. They'll look at your work history, your ability to work. They'll look at prior use of public benefits as a factor. And, unlike the type of benefits that I think are central to the public charge analysis, this new directive suggests that any use of any means-tested benefit by the sponsor might impact their ability to support the applicant for their submission. So not just the immigrant, but, whoever is sponsoring them, if they've used it, this could be considered against them. That could include fee waivers, use of Medicaid or any other services as part of the assessment on that sponsor and their ability to be a viable sponsor for the immigrant.
Okay. The next question that we have is, what about the use of public benefits prior to this rule change? What was the outlook of that?
Right. So, prior to the use, I think that as to the proposed sponsor, that's going to affect them. But as the immigrant, you should be arguing that this is, they shouldn't be applying this rule retroactively. And if they do, it shouldn't be the sole factor that is in the decision. The test is the totality of the circumstances. And that's where I think the attorney role comes in helping you to advocate as a client. And, as stated before, I think that the rules would be different. They're in place right now for anyone traveling abroad. And folks that are inside of the United States, the rules are going to be different for them as well. And it's because this is a developing area that you should always meet with an attorney to get the most up-to-date information prior to filing your case. We can help coach people as to what they can take or what they shouldn't take and try and set them up for success when this decision is made. And, one final note is that even if you find yourself as being considered a public charge, under the proposed regulation, there is an avenue that can be taken, and there currently still is an avenue that can be taken through filing of a waiver or through a different process that is being proposed for someone to overcome that charge of inadmissibility. So I think that's, once again, an area where, this video is too short for us to be able to share that in its entirety, but it's something that you have to consider.
Okay. Well, Mario, thank you so much for spending time with us answering these questions. I think that's really helpful and beneficial to our viewers. Wanted to let you all know that you can call us at any time with any questions at 855-554-6369. We'd be happy to take any of your calls and questions, either Mario, myself, or any one of our staff members. We look forward to meeting with you and your family. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to hearing from you. Bye now.